Being really successful and making something happen out of nowhere, you have to have such a stress tolerance so high that these problems, like I'm talking about, and the people that come against you and the obstacles that you face, that you kind of start to feel numb to them. Growth is uncomfortable. And the bulk of the reason why a lot of people don't actually end up being extremely successful is they're just simply not mentally tough enough. The prepared are the people that run the world, because every single other person is just simply reacting. If you cannot handle the small problems of today, why in the hell could you handle anything more challenging? Hey guys, welcome back to the Grant Mitt Podcast, episode number 104. In this episode, we're going to be talking about how to become mentally tough. One common trait of every successful person in every industry and every background is they have enough mental toughness to get through the most challenging times and ultimately build the things that they want. It's a huge misconception as you're building and that you're creating that when you're chasing success and you start making all these great things happen, that 100% of problems go away, and really successful people actually don't have to handle problems and stress. Whereas the problems, yes, they change. Maybe you're not worried about paying for gas or making rent, but the size of the challenges and the obstacles increase at such a rate that few people can handle it. The first thing that I realized starting out, especially if you don't have an inheritance, you don't have anything else as I didn't, it's important to know that you're going to be faced with challenges so difficult that what you're going after seems literally physically impossible. Because when you're creating something, you're forging a new identity, you're trying to break a generational curse, you're trying to build a business, you're going after something huge, you're literally bending reality, meaning the thing that you actually want right now, it doesn't exist, which means there's going to be people that also want that goal, that outcome. There's going to be people that come across your path that are toxic, are negative, that don't agree with what your beliefs are, that go against what you're working for. I remember early on, especially in the first year when I first started my first business, and still to this day, I think I have even just a little bit of PTSD that I could be sitting in something like this, or I could be walking into a meeting, or something great is happening, and then I look down and I get a text and I find out someone just quit. Or I get a text that we have this massive deal and everything's going great. I look down on my phone and it said, "Hey Grant, this deal, they just backed out, they're threatening to cancel." Or, "Hey, this person's doing this and they're threatening to sue." And you get these texts out of nowhere. And it's many times right when you think everything is happening, right when you think you're about to get that big paycheck, you're about to close that big deal, you're about to land the big job. That's usually when you start facing the most resistance. And what I learned is being really successful and making something happen out of nowhere, you have to have such a stress tolerance so high that these problems, like I'm talking about, and the people that come against you and the obstacles that you face, that you kind of start to feel numb to them. You get better at problem solving. You get better at processing those issues. You don't lose your mind. And that's why it's so important to stay steady. Stay calm, stay poised. And this includes when you win. This includes when you get that big deal, when you break the sales record, when you land the big job. And it's like a common thing I just noticed is you have to stay poised. Because if you get too high when you do something really, really great, and you get too low when something bad happens, you'll be a roller coaster of emotions and you won't be able to handle the problems that are in front of you. A lot of life, especially in leadership, when you have lots of people involved, not only obviously your customers, but your employees, your family, the people closest to you, is staying level-headed is essential. Because I would realize this early on is I would get those text messages like I was talking about. Like we had this huge $70,000 install, $100,000 install going in. And right before I'm getting on a company-wide meeting, bam, it just fall through, they canceled, we got to save it, it's this huge issue. And I would have 2 to 3 minutes to jump on, talk to the entire company. There's been times I've been jumping on national television, literally Fox, and I'm walking in and I'm about to jump on and I get some horrible text message. My best sales guy just quit. This person's threatening this. This is happening. This person just posted this horrible thing. And you have to be poised because humans are so susceptible to change. And if I show as a CEO or someone that's leading other people, same for you, any ounce of weakness, they'll feel it. Even if they can't process it, their just instincts will just sense it. They know something is up. And you have to be poised, even if you have to fake it. You get better and better at this over time. But during these challenges, and I remember in this first year, there were situations and things that I faced that I was like, man, this can't get any worse. I don't know how I'm going to deal with it. And not only did I deal with it, but in year 2 and year 3 and year 4, I'd face those same things, and I'd look down and I'd say some crazy thing, and I'd go, it's no big deal. I'd be calm. I'd say, okay, let's do this, problem was solved. And the reason is because you elevate so much and you face so much challenges that not only do you become more mentally tough, not only do you become better at handling those situations, but you start gaining more resources and people that you can delegate these small problems to, and you implement processes and procedures and so many different things. The moral of the story is you simply just get better. And so whatever you're dealing with right now, a good, simple question that I've always asked myself, anytime I'm facing something that's challenging, is I zoom out and I stop focusing on whatever the hell is going on right now. I want you to think right now, what is the biggest, most stressful problems that you're facing over the last month? And I want you to stop and zoom out and look over the next 10 to 20 years and go, okay, well, what do you actually want? What do you want to accomplish? What things do you want to have? What type of person do you want to be? And ask yourself this simple question. If you cannot handle the small problems of today, why in the hell could you handle anything more challenging? Because if you can't figure this out, you're going to continue to face the same problems. So let's talk about how to do this and how to build this. Problem solve, but ultimately build your mental strength and toughness so everyone here can accomplish the things that we want over the next decade or two. Okay, number 1, if you continually face the same problem and you don't change, it'll keep reoccurring in your life over and over again. The problems that you have in front of you, you have to learn how to conquer. Now, to conquer these problems, these issues, the same version of yourself is not going to do it. The same team, the same environment, and the same information and resources that you have are not going to solve it, because if they were, that problem would not even be there, or you would have solved it so quickly that you wouldn't even be thinking about it in this moment. You have to change. This sounds obvious, but first principle says that if you don't change, nothing changes. You need to change your resources. You need to change your approach. You need to change your processes. You probably need to change the people around you. Life, I've realized, is many times a lot more simple, not easy, but simple than we can imagine. Many times, I'll give you an example. I think it was 6 to 7 months in, we started having a lot of success, but we kind of started facing some challenges. And I heard this saying, it might have been a video, might have been a book, not sure. And they said, you're one grid higher away from changing your entire company. And all of a sudden, random, it was probably the middle of the week, I got this message with a long 10-minute video from this person that said, hey, I'm super inspired by what you're doing. I've been looking to make a career change. I would love to come work for you. So we set up an interview. We ended up hiring him. And that next month, he broke our entire company's sales record. And it was like 30 or 40% more in a month than our best salespeople that we already had. And that one person sent a shockwave throughout our sales team, where everyone raised the standards, starting doing incredible. And we went on this bull run where we grew well over 300%. And it was because that one change. But throughout that journey, we changed our sales processes. We changed our hiring. We changed so many things that every time we changed something, we thought it would be the last thing. And it just kept on changing. I was a completely different person every couple months because of the things that I had experienced and learned. And that includes everybody that's within my team and my organization. We had to hire people. We had to fire people. We had to change processes. And it was uncomfortable as can be. And it still is that same uncomfort. I still feel that same feeling today. But that is what is forced to have rapid and quick, swift change. Okay. The second is you cannot skip growth. Growth is uncomfortable. And the bulk of the reason why a lot of people don't actually end up being extremely successful is they're just simply not mentally tough enough. They're obsessed with feeling the right way before they start doing the things that they know deep down they have to do. Like the simple way I can tell you this, and if this is clipped up, it will not go viral. The world does not give a shit about anybody. It cares about what it can do for that specific individual. Everybody has to provide for a family. Everyone has a goal. Everybody wants to live a better life. The more people you serve, the more lives that you impact, is the greater chance that you're going to do big things. But when you go after a really big goal, people oftentimes underestimate the types of challenges and problems that are going to be faced with that. I tell people all the time, a lot of times when they say, Grant, I want to be an entrepreneur, I'll sit there for 3 to 5 minutes and try to convince them why they shouldn't. And the way that they respond will typically tell me if they can actually do it. Because if they're a true entrepreneur, they say, no, Grant, I don't care about that. I can handle that. They'll push back against me and disagree with me. A weak person or a person that maybe isn't cut out for that will agree and just kind of do their own thing. You have to be able to handle it. And many times we overestimate. We think, if I do this and I work hard, I'm a good person, it's just going to happen. And what I found is it's going to take so much more than you can ever imagine. And I'm not trying to discourage you, but you have to respect the game and realize how good people are, how competitive the market is, and how good and prepared and how much resources you really need to build up to execute. Okay, last is reflection. A key thing to continue building and evolving as a person and not making the same mistakes over and over again is finding time, whether it's once a week, once a month, once a quarter, to reflect on what has happened. I can't tell you how easy it is, and I'm sure you've felt the same thing, to get on autopilot and just start reacting as the bullets are flying at you. Like when you're going after something, especially when it's new, there are so many different things and obstacles and people and circumstances thrown at you that if you don't slow down and plan, everything is going to feel chaotic. This was the most common thing that I hear, but no one really does, is if you just actually planned and stop and thought through, what happens if I think through all these things? If I take this action, how are the bulk of the people around you going to react? Early on, I was just kind of a person that would show up and wing it. I would, try to start this business or I tried to this thing, and I would just do a bunch of random things and worked hard. And I realized that I never really ended up with the highest level, the highest reward, or was the most successful. And the reason why that is I didn't properly think through what it actually took. And this is when I kind of shifted my mindset to being more of an operator and a strategist. Because I realized as you move up, everybody is good. In fact, a lot of people are actually going to be better than you. They may actually have even more resources. But the reason why you see these smaller startups and these people that come out of nowhere and then suddenly become the best in their fields is because they move with speed, they have a plan, and they are unique and they are different. Look, everyone in the world is reacting to life as it comes to them. They react to the world as this problem happens and that problem happens. And so by just slowing down, pulling yourself out of the situation, finding time alone, and just thinking through everything will put you so far ahead of your competition. And then when these obstacles actually occur, you're not surprised. A good thing to ask yourself is, if I want to go after this thing, let's say that you work at a company and you want to get this massive promotion. A good thing to ask yourself is, what are some of the problems that I'm going to face along the way? Are people going to talk bad about you? Are people going to try to sabotage your success? Is there going to be politics that occur within your company? What is going to occur? Now, if you've anticipated all of these things happening, and then all of a sudden someone starts trying to sabotage you getting that job, but you've already identified 4 to 5 different people that will likely do this and plans to prepare for that, and you've already prepared and talked to the right people and built the right relationships, when those individuals do those things, what happens? Are you flustered? Are you stressed out? Are you calling your friends and complaining about it? No, you saw it coming. And the best thing that happens is nothing happens and you just get the promotion. But the prepared are the people that run the world, because every single other person is just simply reacting. This sounds so simple, but nobody actually does it. So hope you guys enjoy this podcast. As always, you guys can check me out on all my other social media channels at Grant Mitt. Other than that, hope to see you guys soon for episode 105. Thank you guys.